Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're talking about microtransactions. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today we're talking about money. Let's get to it. So, we're talking about why microtransactions work and why it works on some games and not on others. In order to understand this, you have to go back to why and how microtransactions started. And for this video, we're going to say monetizing. Because monetizing, I think, is a more accurate statement than microtransactions. Microtransactions literally mean small transactions, and some of the quote-unquote microtransactions are really quite large when you're talking about $50 or $100. So microtransactions originally started, or monetizing, when you started to have persistent online games and for mobile devices, free games or free to play games. So monetizing started with free to play games and persistent online games. I think the free to play games were the originators. Anyway, so why did it happen? So for mobile games, developers realized that they could not charge $60 for a mobile game because people just wouldn't pay it. So they would give their game away for free and then have ads where they could get money from the ads and or monetizing by putting in transactions where you could pay for cosmetics or for power. And then that they would get the money they would need to pay for the development of that game, but also to pay for development of new games. Now, once the PS3 and Xbox 360 came along, you had games that were more persistent online. They were hosted on servers by the developers or publishers, and so there were monthly costs and maintenance that were involved with those games. So instead of having a game like the original Legend of Zelda, where you get the game, there's no online, it is what it is, period. You have these games that changed and evolved over time, some more than others. And they wanted to be able to recoup some of the cost of the maintenance that was related to the servers. Makes sense. Well, monetizing has evolved quite a bit. You have a lot of companies, some more than others, that use the money as a development tool, and some companies use monetizing as a profit tool. Well, what's the difference? Well, it's really hard to tell the difference between companies that are using money from monetizing to further the game and those that are not, at least initially. So you have games such as Warframe, Grand Theft Auto Online, which you can clearly see, and games like Fortnite, you can clearly see the results of in-game transactions monetizing on the game, which helps the developers further the experience by adding new content on a regular basis. So why does it work? Now, again, we have to talk a little bit about the monetizing. So there's different types of monetizing. There's games like Fortnite, which is purely cosmetic. They also have these founder packs for the Save the World campaign, so you get a whole nother avenue to play PvE instead of PvP. You have Grand Theft Auto Online, which is uses the monetizing, and you get direct in-game money for real money. And that in-game money can be used for anything between bullets to cars to apartments to businesses and anything and everything in between. The in-game money is not a premium currency, it is the base currency for everything. There's one currency and that is it. Games like Warframe, you pay for actual items in the game. It's really kind of paying for power, but since Warframe is mainly PvE, there is some PvP arenas in there, but paying for certain warframes or weapons does not really tip anything in your favor. Gives you a new design, gives you new skins, there's new weapons and armor, but there's no weapons or armor that are so overpowered that are going to break the experience. And then you have games like Madden and FIFA, where you have these loot boxes where you pay a certain number of in-game coins or premium currency. One can be earned, one can be bought, and then you get a guaranteed rarity, but not guaranteed players. All right. Now we can get to it. Why does monetizing work? Monetizing works because players want what these developers are selling. In games like Grand Theft Auto, you want that new business or car or clothes or whatever without having to grind for it. Same thing in other games. You want that reward without putting in as much effort. If you have a job and you had a way where your company said, or a third party company said to you, we can make your job 20% easier. You have to put in 20% less effort. All you have to do is buy this thing. Would you do it? Most people would probably say, yeah, I have to put in less effort. I still get paid the same. I just have to put a little bit of money into this thing to help me out. Other people would say, well, how much is this thing that's going to help me out? They start thinking about how much it is going to actually help. And then other people say, no, that sounds kind of dishonest. I want to put in my full effort all the time. Same thing in games. You're going to have people that always want to get the premium currency because it's going to help them out. There's going to be some people that weigh it against the utility of it. So people will buy it if it's at the right price point. And then other people that say, no, I'm not going to buy it because of principle or whatever. So as long as you are always getting one subsection of the player base that will always get premium currency, the companies will cater to those people and will occasionally try to bring in the other section of people that will buy it based on the amount of utility versus the cost. So they will promote certain things by giving you a discount. Say, this is what it normally costs, this is what you can get it for, and that will also normally help the people that always buy it because they may have just gotten some premium currency, but they're going to get more because it's on a good deal. So that is why premium currency monetizing works. The player base will either want to get something out of it, no matter what, without putting in the effort. Other people will want it based on the amount of utility that they get from it, and other people will never get it. So the companies aren't going to pursue those types of people. They want to get the first two groups. The first group that's always going to buy it, they're going to look at them first. They're going to look at the other section of people second, and then they're not going to look at the people that won't. So there's always going to be people that will grind to get the in-game currency, use what they get from there to further their enjoyment. People, for example, Grand Theft Auto, you can do actions within the game to increase your income, and by doing so you can further the items that you have, the businesses, the apartments, the boats, the planes, the helicopters, etc., just by doing actions in the game that get you money. You can also buy the money, and that'll get it a lot faster. So you have people that buy the in-game money and people that grind for the money. People that buy the money are going to get that reward a lot faster. People that don't, they'll eventually get it. It just takes time. And that way it is more fair. I don't want to say it's completely fair, but it is more fair because people that grind for it can still get the same items. It's not locking it behind a paywall. So why doesn't it always work? When you have pay to win situations where if you buy these in-game currency, you buy these loot boxes, and you get more power out of it, then you start having some backlash from the player base. And partially, I think it is the average age of the player base. So the older the player base is, they don't seem to mind as much as long as they're not locked out by a paywall. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.